I'd like to welcome everybody warmly for this live webinar on behalf of the coaching movie and everybody involved in it. And a warm welcome to Marc Steinberg. Marc Steinberg is the executive producer of the coaching movie and also the founder of Creative Consciousness International and the Conscious Coaching Academy. Marc, you've been empowering and inspiring people to personal growth and spiritual fulfillment, and especially more consciousness for more than 20 years. And you're a wonderful person. We met, and I just love your energy. Welcome here, Marc.
Thank you, Patryk, for those wonderful welcome words, and thank you everyone who is on the call. I'm excited about this opportunity, and Patryk, only a thief can recognize thieves. So as wonderful as you say I am, you certainly are too.
Thank you very much. So if some people have the questions that they would like to ask to Marc, right now is a good moment in the chat window. Here's your first question, Marc. If from John here, if you would like to give a easy step-by-step plan to become more conscious, how would that 3 steps plan look like?
I love those questions, you know? I mean, the most difficult thing in the world to become conscious or to connect to consciousness, and then just a 3-step plan, tick, 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 and I'm connected, I'm fully conscious. Wow. I'd love to have that for myself. So now, how can I make sense of that question? Well, certainly the first thing to have is the desire, and obviously that is a given because otherwise the question wouldn't be there. Now, in order to become conscious, mankind has developed over the millennia religious, spiritual, philosophical systems, New Age systems, esoterical, occult systems, all in the attempt to connect to that which is beyond the mind, beyond the ordinary, everyday waking state. So this is an attempt, a desire that is as old as mankind. And the various ways differ significantly, and they also have to do with the culture. The East tries to connect to consciousness or become conscious in a different way than the West. And we have the extreme polarities from asceticism, the Indian niyati, which means not this and not that. So the total denial of everything that could cause attachment. The Buddhist Diamond Sutra, I'm not my body, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, etc., etc. Those certainly, when practiced, lead to the ultimate connection to consciousness. And the West, by conditioning, can lean more towards the iti, which means this and that. So this is the way of inclusion. That means that I'm going the integration way, because by conditioning, our minds and brains work either or. You know, there's always something to be in resistance to, and there's something to be attracted to. And that greatly causes difficulties because basically it splits up all our energies and we are finding ourselves in the polarity world of good and bad. And ultimately, that doesn't lead to nothing else but suffering, confusion, and a loss of energy. So to take any either or and to look for a creating and as well as is certainly a good tool in order to realize the integration path and to walk that avenue. To become conscious certainly requires a practice of meditation. Now, when I say meditation, then what I understand by it is to be in a position that is comfortable to you and to not do anything for minimum 20 minutes, better 30 minutes or longer, and just observe what's going on in your mind, in your heart, in your lungs, and in your body, the sensations, the noises outside, birds, cars, and to not engage and to not resist. Neither your thoughts of boredom, your thoughts of what's going to happen tonight, what am I going to do for the weekend, just to be present and observe. Thoughts are coming, thoughts are going, feelings are coming, feelings are going, emotions, etc. The five senses are giving input while you are just observing what is happening without engaging. And when you get taken by a ride, by a thought, go on a little internal world tour. After 2 minutes, you realize, oh my God, I should be meditating. Well, then you back and you don't make yourself wrong and you just continue again, trying to be present to what is without getting lost again. Now, this practice leaves you more and more and more conscious on the first level. The first level is that you consistently reach a awareness with regard to your cognitive movement, your cognitive process, or your thinking and your feeling. And once that is established, which it will if you practice long enough, then you can go one step further in your awareness and extend the awareness to the observer itself. So the first level is to be really aware of what's going on, five senses and your thinking and feeling internally. Second, to include the one who is aware. Now that's a little bit tricky, but it makes total sense once you have established the first step for yourself. So that's a meditation practice, and I'm clear that was a kind of a crash course, and if you're already familiar with meditation, then probably it all makes sense, or you already knew it before. That's important in order to establish awareness and to extend it, and then to have a good feedback structure and consistently engage or frequently engage in reflecting what is going on, learning about the laws that govern existence, the laws of consciousness, studying on YouTube. There's so much material available. And whatever you go into resonance with, that's important. Whatever you go into resonance with is something that you should pursue. Resistance usually only happens when there's no resonance. And sometimes it's good to take a look at, why am I resisting? Why am I going into opposition here? Maybe there's something for me to realize about my conditioning. Maybe I don't want to be uncomfortable, or I don't want to forfeit things. I don't want to sacrifice, and there's stuff to discover. So what I'm saying, basically, it's a big job. It's a wonderful destination. It's a wonderful way. And I'm afraid I'm not able in 3 simple steps to provide an answer to that question. But maybe what I pointed out is of some value. And if there are additional further questions based on what I shared, then I'm more than happy to engage.
Wonderful, Marc. Thank you very much. We have a lot of questions, so I suggest to limit the answer for the next ones to like 2 or 3 minutes. I think the answer was very interesting and needed in this case. So great, thank you very much. Question from Judith. Should a coach be an example themselves of what they talk about to others? And which other characteristics should a good coach have?
I like that question. It reminds me of the Gandhi quote, be the change you want to see in the world, or to tailor it according to the question, be the change you want to see in your client. And I think it's very valuable to remember that little story about Gandhi. He was, as we know, not only a great politician who made a big difference for India, liberating them from the British, but also he was regarded as a guru and gave darshans where people could come and consult him. And the mom with a little daughter showed up. The daughter had diabetes and asked Gandhi what to do. And Gandhi said, come back in 2 weeks. Mom was a little bit irritated, but tradition in India requires that you trust the guru's advice. And she came back after 2 weeks, and then she was eager, what's happening now? And Gandhi said to her daughter, don't eat sugar. And then mom was very, very irritated and asked me, why did I have to wait 2 weeks? And you're saying this one sentence. And Gandhi said, because I stopped eating sugar. Now, this really got me thinking when I heard that story. I said, wow, this is so powerful. Obviously, the presence of him being not eating sugar has a much higher impact on the advice than just saying it without him backing it up with an actuality in his being. So if a coach, for example, is supporting clients to step out of their comfort zone, to take on risky, or to take on risks, good risks, constructive risks, of course, then, or creating from vision and not from circumstances, then the coach can greatly add to the effectiveness and therefore the value of the coaching session when they are living what they are providing, walking the talk, so to speak. And the second part of the question was around, okay.
Yes, let's take the second part of the question shortly, briefly. Which characteristics should a good coach have?
Integrity, sincerity, authenticity, honesty, knowing what they are doing, preferably credentials from a renowned coaching organization. If I now would go into all those subjects, you would tell me again.
Yes, we have about 15 minutes left. So let's go to the next one from Thomas. How do you define achieving success in life, and what does it mean to you?
Achieving success for me always has, it's a coin with two sides, and I call it the outer million and the inner million, to just give it a colorful title. As much as it is having advantages when one achieves outer financial independence, if you want to call it that way, or just, to earn enough to support your preferred lifestyle, whatever that means. However, if there is no inner million, if there is no inner richness, then all the outer wealth is something that won't serve you to become internally happy. That's an old knowing. Everybody can say that. I know that, and it's so true. Many of my clients who have everything and much more one possibly can imagine, they have the same internal challenges as the poor man who just lives from $1,000 a month. And obviously, those who have internal wealth, are independent. They don't need necessarily the outer million. Therefore, they can experience a greater sense of freedom and independence. And still, they are free. That means they can go for the outer million if they have fun doing that. So I believe the inner million comes first and is most important. And then I call it a success. For me personally, that was asked by the questioner, well, it is exactly that. I do prefer a particular lifestyle. I think we all do. However, I'm very, very clear that the real treasure, the real experience of being alive, of experiencing gratitude, of experiencing fulfillment, that doesn't come with having a great house and all the tools, etc., etc. Not even with having a great career according to whatever standards we want to set up here by societal conditioning, but rather, are you satisfied with what you're doing? Are you satisfied with your self-expression? How do you feel when you look in the mirror about yourself? What's your level of self-love? And what are your values, and are those values in place? Are you able to live those values? I think these are the parameters for real success.
Wonderful, Mark. Next question from Julie. Mark, you give courses in many places around the world, also in less developed countries. Do you think that everybody can improve and grow? And what are the conditions to make that happen?
Yes, I do not only think that everybody can grow, I believe, I know by the experience of working now almost 30 years with people and human empowerment that everyone who wants to grow will grow, period. I never have seen anybody who really wants to grow who wasn't able to grow and to develop. If somebody doesn't want to grow, then they obviously are learning just exactly that. What are the consequences of resisting growth? Then their time will come, because life creates increasing suffering, and there's just a matter of, how high can you let the suffering rise before even you are starting to bow down a little bit and start growing. So everybody can and everybody will sooner or later grow. Absolutely. I'm clear on that. And in developing countries, there are so many people who are eager with the opportunity and the possibility to grow, because there the spirit of accomplishment and achievement is still in the morning. Whereas, sometimes in the West, when people have achieved everything, then the question is, okay, what's next? I accomplished everything, so now what? But in the developing country, there's a spirit of let's stand up and let's become great. And I hope those developing countries are defining greatness not by having all the tools and the cars as we in the West and all the rest of it, but by rather internal values, as I just mentioned before in the other question.
Next question. How does one find their mission in life? What they should do here while they are on Earth?
That is also an incredibly important question. And the younger we are asking the question, the better it is. Because obviously our society and educational system and the education also of our parents and their maturity when it comes to things like what's your real purpose in life, what's your true north, what's your vocation, what's your mission, then they themselves have not gotten great support, and therefore they can't give it to their children. But whatever age the question is in, or anybody who's asking the question, it is always the right time. It's never too late. So how does one go about it? Well, the first thing is you need to make a list and write down what you're clear that it's not your mission. And you can use parameters and placeholders and subject lines, so it doesn't need to be a specific list of 1 million things. But usually after one page, you're done. And it's a very good exercise, because what you can be conscious of is what you don't want, what you're clear that's not your mission. And then when you really exhaust that, you are in a very powerful place, in a very interesting space. Because you may experience that there is actually not an immediate answer from the superficial mind that only can move within the 9 dots, within its own box. And as long as you look for your real mission in your own box, you will probably be disappointed with the outcome, or never feel 100% certain, because one thing is missing: your heart is not in it. Now, the heart is also something that is important to distinguish, so that you don't fall for the trick that the mind plays sometimes, to pretend, that it's suddenly the heart. Therefore, we first need to kind of bypass the mind by making that list, and then take a walk or go to a favorite place and just sit down and have time with yourself, and let the clarity, what you don't want, what is dear to you, you're not gonna experience as your mission really unfold. And then will come a moment where you suddenly are getting an idea, being completely free, to not needing to do that stuff that I'm clear that is not resonating with me when it comes to mission. In that freedom that you need to allow yourself, it's a thought experiment, you can do it in your mind, but just pretend that you wouldn't need nothing of that. And forget about the fear to make a living at the moment. Just park everything. Put yourself into a state of complete freedom. And then what? That's very interesting. And if something comes up, then run it by a particular benchmark. For example, would you do that? Would you have fun and love doing this, even if nobody would applaud? Is it about getting a result? Is it about getting a reward? Or is it about you love the action? Because if you love the action, then you're very close, if not already in the center. Because loving the action in itself is its own fulfillment, and you're free to produce results. Now, for example, if you love to play tennis, not to win, but if you love the game, well, then it's not so important whether you win or not. You still can want to win, of course, but that's not the point. The point is the action of the game itself, because you love the movement, you love the ball and all the rest of it. So then you are fulfilled by having played tennis for 2 hours, irrespective of the outcome. So you're not working for the future, but you're enjoying the moment. And then you're really close to your mission. So that's how I would go about it.
An interesting question that actually connected to this one is the following. What's the ultimate goal of coaching? Is it money, love, happiness, or something else?
The ultimate goal of coaching is, of course, making millions. Well, if you want to do that, if that's why you're going to coaching and you are a good coach, well, then there will be no punishment. There's no judgment around that, except, one brings in morality and all kind of other parameters, and we don't do that. There's even the book, $1 Million Coaching. There's support out there. So if money motivates you to make a difference in other people's lives, be our guest, be great, and do it for that purpose. If other values motivate you to go into coaching, then do that. Celebrate your particular values. And maybe today it's the money, and maybe in 1 year from now it's more than that, or less than that, or different from that. So the ultimate goal of coaching for me personally, and that is just a perspective. It's not better than anybody else's perspective or any other value. It's just what motivates me is to participate in a process where I directly experience on the other side, whether it's on a Skype conversation, on the phone, or even face-to-face, that something is happening in another human being that we can call empowerment. That human being, in a process of 45, 60 minutes, is not the same anymore as at the beginning of the session. And I was there and played a part in it by providing the space, what we call coaching, in which another is experiencing an upliftment, experience openings of new possibilities. I can feel the excitement, I can feel the value, the appreciation, I can feel the breakthrough. I'm participating in the most extraordinary happening in this world when a flower opens, when a human being's mind opens, and the fresh air of new possibilities coming in. And this is giving me the greatest fulfillment I can imagine, and that's why I love coaching so much.
Thank you very much, Marc. We're at the end of our time here for this powerful Q&A. One last short question for you from me. What's your message you would like to share right now briefly with the people out there that they should really think of?
I could meditate on the question alone now for half an hour, but I know we don't have the time. since we are, since we are in the context of coaching, my wish I want to express is that if anybody resonates with taking coaching, learning how to give coaching, anything around coaching, then my wish would be check it out, go in there, make the experience and see what it means and what happens to you when you engage in either allowing yourself to be empowered or you engage in empowering others.
Thank you very much, Marc. We're very happy to have you part as an executive producer of the coaching movie, because your content, your consciousness and everything what we have experienced at your event and the people that you have trained that we spoke with is just wonderful, and we're very happy to have you part of this wonderful film that will make history. So thank you very much. Thank you everybody for attending this webinar. And let's inspire the world with consciousness. Thank you, Marc.
Thank you. It was an absolute privilege. All the best.